invited me to another woman's home. This man invited me to another woman's home and wanted to get busy with me in another woman's bed. Yo, that's wild. Usually men who are cheating. Hey girlies, welcome back to my channel. As you can see in the title, this is a story time video where I was the other woman and didn't know. Okay, so stay tuned, and I'm gonna just let you know right now, you might want to grab a glass of wine, whatever you need to drink, so we can get through this story together, because I got my cup right here. Miss Stella Rosa came in handy, or will be coming in handy. So the reason I wanted to provide this video in general is because I know I'm not the only one only woman who goes through these things. You know, a woman meets a guy, you think he's great at first, right? He's being super consistent, and then next thing you know, he just stops communicating the way that he used to. And so I ended up going through something that it was hurtful, but I got out of the situation. And so I want to provide this information to the women out there who are actively dating and what signs to look out for so that you can avoid things like this, because it could have been dangerous for me. And there are certain red flags that I am going to mention in this video that you need to pay attention to, because I've now realized these were red flags. And in the future, with me meeting or dating someone else, I'm gonna pay attention to them right away. So of course, I'm not gonna use the real person's name or anything like that, because that's unnecessary. That's not the point of this video, but I am going to explain what happened. So all of this happened within the course of a month. It's been a little less than 4 weeks, so a little less than a month. I met this guy last summer during my birthday, and we're gonna just say his name is Charles. So I met Charles. Me and my stepmother were out. We were celebrating my birthday, and we're at this little event where they were playing jazz music or whatever. So Charles was actually talking to my stepmother in order to get to me. He was just like, "Oh my goodness, what is her name?" And my stepmother was like, "Go ahead and ask her." So they were conversing or whatever, and then I go up to my stepmother and I start talking to her again, because I got my drink or whatever, and now I came back. And so he asked for my name and my number, and I was like, okay, cool. I was attracted to him. He seemed cool. I don't know him yet, but I was attracted to him, so I was just like, okay, cool. So then I noticed, after we met or whatever, I was dating other people, but I noticed, he hasn't reached out to me, so I'm not sweating him. Like, whatever, I'm dating other people, but I did notice, like, that was my first, like, oh, that's interesting to me, because if a guy's into you, I would think he would contact you, but he didn't for a minute. And so I was dating other people at the time. But tell me why at the end of December of 2023, I post a picture. I went to celebrate with one of my friends at the time, and we celebrated me getting the job, or getting the interview for a flight attendant. And so I posted a picture on the gram looking real nice, delicious, okay? And tell me why, of course, he reacts to the photo. He puts little heart eyes emoji or whatever. And I was like, okay. So he asked me specifically, "Are you taken at this point?" And I was honest. I said, "No, I'm not." And so he's like, okay, well, we still need to go ahead and go to dinner. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure. And so we're starting to converse back and forth, and then I was like, "You do know when did I meet you?" I asked him, "When did I meet you?" And he was like, "Summer." And I was just like, "So you know what I'm getting at? Like, it's taking you a minute to contact me." And he's like, "Well, it takes two." And so I was like, we were conversing back and forth about that. And then I asked him specifically this question, because he asked if I was taken at this point. So I asked him, "Are you single, or are you in a relationship? Or is there anyone who thinks you're in a relationship with them?" Because with men, you have to be very specific. Some of them play dumb, which I don't believe they are. They just know how to run game. So I had to be very specific with this man. Is there someone out there who thinks you're in a relationship with them? And he said, "No, I'm single and dating." Cool. I asked that question out of respect for if he was in a relationship, I would have nipped that in the bud. So also, by the way, I don't follow him on Instagram. So he follows me and came for me. Remember that, okay? As we get more into the story. So we started going out. He took me out to dinner. He was a nice guy. Like, I'm just being honest. Based off what I saw, what he portrayed himself to be in that moment, he was a nice guy. We were conversing. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel cringy. It didn't feel like I can leave at any point. Like, waiter, can you go ahead and give me the bill so we can split this? Like, it wasn't giving those vibes, because I will walk out. If I'm not feeling the date, I will simply walk out, pay for my bill, and then I'm done. Like, we don't need to do all this. But I didn't get that vibe with him. So we were talking, conversing, getting to know him. He was asking me, you know, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? And what do you do? And I was asking him questions, and he told me that he was divorced. It had been 2 years. I said, okay. So I'm just like, in my mind, okay, that's kind of recent to me to be divorced. I don't know how long he was with his ex-wife, but you know, that's in my mind. And so, you know, he's kind of telling me things about him. I asked, does he have any children? You know, just asking those typical questions. And again, when we're face to face, I ask him, are you single? Are you dating anyone? He says, no, I'm single. I said, okay. So then we start talking about the dating life and how that's going. And he's just like, you know, he starts telling me whatever about his dating life, and I start telling him about mine. And you know, I'm a busy woman. I work 2 jobs, so I'm not really dating like that. But if I do give someone a chance, then cool. So we're conversing. We ended up going to play bowling right after dinner. It was fun, good vibes. I'm a very competitive person, and I definitely like to see people's competitive sides. So we go on a date, and then he already plans to go on the second date with me. So I'm like, cool, you know, he's being consistent. And before the second date, you know, he's calling me consistently like, hey, you know, how was your day? Every time I got off work at 5 p.m., he was calling at 5:30. I was like, oh, okay. At first I thought, oh, he's kind of clingy. And I was just like, oh, he's kind of clingy. But I didn't say that to him. I wasn't going to complain about it, but I did kind of notice, wow, you know, he's kind of clingy. But he would call me, you know, consistently when I would get off work, asking me how my day was, you know, what my plans were, this and that, and if we could get together. And I was just like, yeah, we can get together for another date. You know, I enjoyed the first one. And so he chose another place, and we went out to dinner again, and then we went to go do something fun after. And during this dinner, we had a good time. Again, there was nothing out of the ordinary that I could sense. And I was just like, oh, this man doesn't pick up his phone at all during, you know, dinner, or, you know, this smells like it's on. I'm sorry, 1 second. It's just my candle. But anyways, like I was saying, you know, he seemed like a gentleman. You know, opening the door, that's, to me, that's bare minimum as well. Opening the door, you know, walking out to go get the car, and then waiting for me to get out of the restaurant and coming to pick me up because it was raining. So I didn't sense anything out of the ordinary. And I thought, oh wow, he's really kind, like he's a gentleman. And so during that first week, that was the first week of us actually talking, and he's texting and calling me. So we've had 2 dates within the week. So then what ended up happening, which, oh my God, for me to even say this, he was like, you know, we should do a movie night, because we would always talk about the movies that we like. Movie night with a man. I should have thought this through. So he was like, we should do a movie night. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, in my mind, it's just gonna be a movie night. It ain't no Netflix and chill type stuff. Now I know y'all gonna be on my head like, sis, you should have known. Like, what were you thinking? Now I know. Now I know. So I ended up going over to his place, and we watched movies. We were playing Uno, and it was cool. I didn't feel uncomfortable with him being in his place and within like close proximity of each other, and just us. I didn't feel uncomfortable. But we watched a movie, and then we watched a couple of shows. Now I was tired, you know, I was tired. I worked 2 jobs, and I just noticed after the movie, this man, it was definitely giving Netflix and chill, and I was just like, ugh. Like, I'm gonna be honest, he started like rubbing on my thigh. He put his arm around me, which I was fine with, but it's just what happened next. So he ended up like putting his hand on me, on my thigh, and then he was like nibbling on my ear, and then he leaned in, y'all, for the kiss, like, and I was like, no, because I don't know you like that. Like, I don't know where your lips have been. I don't know you like that. Now, as you know, people might argue, okay, but you didn't know him like that, but you went to his place. I know that, y'all. I know. I've been extremely hard on myself. I will get to that point in the video, but I know. So he, you know, he's like, oh, you don't want to kiss me? And I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. 1 second, my phone. Okay, so I told him, you know, like, I'm not ready for that. And so I continued to watch whatever's on TV, and I cuddled with him. That was it. That was all I was comfortable with doing. And I'm not going to do something that I'm not comfortable doing. I don't care who you are. So we, you know, we cuddled, and I was tired. He was like, do you want to just stay? And I was just like, okay. Y'all, I wasn't thinking. I was like, okay, I'll stay. And so we fell asleep on the couch. And then so we fell asleep on the couch, and then the next morning something was off, like completely off with him, and he like was distant with me, and it's almost as if he didn't want me there. Like, I'm not a fool. I can pick up on the energy, so I know when I'm not wanted there anymore. So I was just like, okay, I'll leave, like, no problem. So then after that, he became inconsistent with his texting and calling me, and I was just like, okay. And so a few days later, I texted him. I said, what changed? Because clearly something changed. And then he was just like, you know, I just feel like our career paths are taking us in a different direction. But you just told me at dinner you didn't really care about what your girl does, as long as she's not like a stripper or whatever, you can bring her home to mom. That's what this man has told me already. This man has also said, you know, as far as your work, I'm not a 50-50 man. I would pay all the bills. You know, he was kind of getting into that information with me. So I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. Like, something's off. And so we start talking about that. And, you know, now that I think about it, I should have just let him go at that point, when he was trying to cop out, make an excuse. But I was just like, I wanted to know, like, what changed. And so he was texting me and basically saying, you know, we can talk about this over brunch, you know, when are you available next, yada yada yada. But he was really inconsistent still with his communication. He was no longer calling me. Remember, in the beginning, I was telling you all, this man was kind of clingy. Okay, this man would call me at 5:30. After work, he would call me and ask me how my day was and is planning dates. Now everything is text messaging. I'm like, I got a feeling in my stomach. I said, here we go. Because either he's living a double life, or no, he's living a double life. There's no or. Like, he's living a double life, or he wanted me to put out and I didn't. So now he's showing his true colors. He's showing his true colors. So tell me why. Ooh, let me drink some wine. So tell me why during the time that we're texting, I started to notice, you know, the iPhone gonna tell on you, first of all. So the iPhone would say, this person, Charles, has his notification silenced. I'm like, what the, why he got his notification? I'm starting to notice a pattern, okay? So this is not just a one-time thing. I'm like, why does he have his notification silence during 2 p.m. through freaking 10 p.m.? Like, what the freak? And so we ended up making plans for Friday to go out together. And Thursday night, guess what? He comes texting me saying, I think I'm coming down with something. I said, okay, no problem. We can reschedule. And so he told me he's not feeling well, right? And so I began to check on him. I'm like, how are you feeling? I hope you're feeling better. And he was like, I'm not feeling too well. My mom's not doing too well, so I need to go visit her in another state. I need to drive out there. But you're not feeling well. Mom's not feeling well. I would think a normal person would not want to, okay. I would think you wouldn't want to get her more sick, but okay. Okay. So then he's driving there, and I end up missing his call. He called me, and 10 minutes later I call this man back, and it goes straight to voicemail. Negro, you're driving. You have more time than anybody on the road. You should be answering this call. You have free time. You're driving. You're driving, right? Let me take another sip. He was driving. He was driving. So I'm just like, this is weird. I even talked to my best friend about it. I was just like, something's off. And she's like, no, maybe he is not feeling well. I said, no, something's off. I'm letting you know. And so after that, it's just kind of been weird. I kind of like became distant myself. I'm just like, whatever. So then I'm trying to think what ended up happening. I told him my feelings were hurt because, you know, he was super consistent, and we had a conversation about this already. He was super consistent, and then things changed. And, you know, we were conversing back and forth via text message. So, you know, I ended up telling him, hey, I got the job to become a flight attendant, you know, as the days pass. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with my timelines. Emotionally, it's a lot. I'm still dealing with it, what happened. But I ended up telling him I got the job, and we're still conversing. So now we're in February at this point. You know, Valentine's was a few days ago, Valentine's Day. So he's texting me on Valentine's Day, and I told him I didn't celebrate holidays. So he was like, you know, I know you said you didn't celebrate, so we could either do something the day before or the day after. Sorry, y'all, this story's about to get crazy. So my voice is changing because I'm trying to hold my composure. So a day after Valentine's, on Valentine's, I went out with my stepmom, and I told my stepmom, he's with somebody else tonight. I didn't have proof at all. I could feel it. He's with somebody else tonight. And she's like, oh, you think? And then she was looking at me. She's like, are you gonna text him? Because I pulled my phone out. And I was like, no, I'm the prize. Like, I know my worth. I'm not gonna text him. She's like, good for you. And so, you know, the next day, Thursday, February 16th, it's my last day at my job. Like, it's about to be a new start, a new journey for me. And I ended up going to Chick-fil-A to get breakfast, and then my phone vibrates. And I look at my phone, and the only message I can see at this point is, how long has this been going on? And I'm thinking, oh, is he asking, like, it looked like it was his number because I didn't save his number. So I was like, oh, okay. Is it him? Like, did he discover I'm doing YouTube or something and he's trying to figure it out? So I open the text thread of the person who's asking me, how long has this been going on? And we're gonna say her name is Sandra. Sandra says, good morning, this is Sandra, Charles' girlfriend. I've been noticing you all have been texting back and forth and messing around. I've been with him for a little over a year. How long has this been going on? Mind you, I'm supposed to hang out with him in 2 days. So at this time, I'm just confused. My feelings are hurt. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm shocked. I'm shocked because I'm just like, this is why you were being inconsistent. You have a girlfriend. So I replied with her. I said, girl, ask him. Like, I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you loyalty. I'm not with you. I'm not your boyfriend. Like, ask him. So she replies back with, he said you're nobody and he don't know you. Okay, well, there you go. And then she replied with, but I know that's a lie. And then she was like, oh, so you're one of them, but you were over here texting him, yada, yada, yada. Have a good day. I said, you too, love. And then I go to my stepmom and I show her what Sandra just sent me, and my stepmom was like, no, you go back and you text her, because I don't want her to think you're I can't say this on YouTube. I don't want her to think that you're like that. You're that type of woman. And so I said, okay. So I ended up texting Sandra back and I said, hey, I don't want you to think I'm one of those. However, when I met Charles, he told me that he was single, and I was not aware that he was in a relationship. He told me that he had been divorced for 2 years. And when I went over to Charles' home or apartment, he wanted to get intimate with me, but I rejected him. And then Sandra was like, when were you in our home? Our? Yo. She asked me, when were you in our home? As in both of them, their home. And I told her the date. I told her the exact date of when I was there. And she's like, I'm in shock. She said, did you guys get intimate? And I told her, no, I rejected him. And he started acting a certain way. And the reason the reason she even found out is because when I went over to Charles' place, he hid all of her stuff under the cabinets, threw her purses in the drawers. He threw everything out of sight so I wouldn't be able to see it. She told me, that is our home. I am on that lease and he's on that lease. What? What? This man just told me he don't do 50-50 and he's on y'all both on this lease? So this man invited me to another woman's home? This man invited me to another woman's home and wanted to get busy with me in another woman's bed? Yo, that's wild. Usually men who are cheating or doing whatever, they're gonna take that girl to a hotel or whatever. This man hid his girlfriend from me. His girlfriend from me. And so as she's telling me this, she said, yeah, I went through the trash can and I found a panty liner. And you know, I don't wear panty liners, so I know it wasn't me. And when I asked him about it, he lied. I was like, wow, you, like, in my mind, wow, she's going through the trash and unwrapping stuff like that's in the trash, which is, it's crazy that she even has to do that. But yeah, it was almost that time of the month, so I went to go change or whatever in the bathroom, not thinking someone was gonna check the trash. Obviously it's wrapped, but that's not the point. She found that and was wondering when she returned from home the day after I was at their place. Literally the day after I was at their place, the morning I left, she was returning home late at night and was like, why is my stuff under the cabinet? Like, what is going on? And so I told Sandra, hey, I can call you and tell you everything at this point. Like, I don't owe that man nothing. And so what I did was I screenshotted her message that she sent me and I sent it to Charles and I said, this is wild. And I figured, and then I blocked him because there's nothing he could say. We don't have nothing to discuss at this point. There's nothing he can say to me to make me, I'm not gonna listen to that dumb shit. Like, I'm not listening to no excuses, no lies, because all he's gonna do is lie. Like, you brought me to your girl's place and hid her stuff so I wouldn't see it with the hopes of you was gonna get some. And so I ended up calling her and I was like, hey, Sarah, this is Janae. Like, I just wanted to give you a timeline of what happened, how we met. We met 7 months ago at this place. At that time that we met, he was in a relationship with her. He was in a relationship with her when he got my number. That's what she confirmed. She was like, yeah, I helped this man move to this new state. He moved in with me. And then we got our place together the next year. I was helping him out. I got him his new job. And this is what he does to me. I found out, you know, we're talking. And I was just like, you know, I'm sorry, y'all. we were having a mutual conversation. There was respect there. There wasn't any type of disrespect, but more of a conversation. Like we're expressing information. We're both speechless. There were times where we both paused. And y'all, I'm shocked. I'm shocked because this man did not present himself to be that way in person. So she's telling me all the things that he has done for her, or no, she has done for him, sorry. She's telling me all the things she has done for him, and then she tells me, he just told me last night on Valentine's Day he wanted me to have his daughter. Now at that point I was just like, girl, I don't need to know that. And a lot of men will say that just to say dumb stuff. You know how many men told me they want me to have their kid? No, actually you're getting blocked. But you know, she was telling me that, and I was like, oh, well, I told this man I didn't want any kids, and he said he was okay with that. And she was just like, oh my God, wow. And then I said something was off. I knew, like, I told her I wasn't emotionally invested in this man. I was getting to know him, and I thought that he was single. And I showed her proof. I sent her proof. He slid into my DMs, and I specifically asked him if he's single or if there's anyone out there who thinks he's in a relationship, and he confirmed no. She said, I know he's lying. I believe you. I see it there. And I said, I don't owe him anything. I told her this. I told his girlfriend, I don't owe him anything. So I have nothing to hide. Here's your proof. And so I told her, you know, he just messaged me last week trying to get together with me for brunch. She didn't even know that. And she's in town. They're living together. This woman's living with this man, and he's over here trying to take me out to brunch. And I sent her that. And so she ends up confronting this person, which, you know, I don't know why. Like, you know, when a woman's fed up and done, she's done. She's not going to go back and forth and argue with the man. Usually those type of women do stay. And they know their man's cheating. But she was going back and forth with him and sending me the proof. Like, you know, he's saying it was nothing and trying to downplay this. That's fine. He can downplay all he wants. But at the end of the day, another woman was in your home. And so she's telling me, you know, she's going through his Instagram because I told her something was off about him. I looked through his followers. I told her I looked through his followers. She said, what, did you see something? I was like, just the woman he's following. Like, these women are doing some crazy stuff online. It's literally like soft corn. I'm saying corn for a reason because I don't want to say the word and get like flagged or anything. But these women all are like, you know, doing some compromising things online, shaking something, showing a lot, okay? Like, you would think it's OnlyFans. And so I'm just like, he has almost 2,000 followers, and 90% of them are women who are doing some crazy stuff on their Instagrams. And so I continue to look through his followers for a little bit, and I noticed he was following Kevin Samuels. Y'all, I was just like, ew, it's such a turnoff at this point. I was just like, oh, that's so gross. Like, he's watching that stuff. And so I can kind of tell already what his mindset is by even following someone like that. And usually a man can kind of snoop on Instagram and follow, like, you know, those popular women like Bernice Burgos, whatever, India Love, whatever. But these women are like local. And so I'm just like, this is a turnoff for me. So then she goes through this man, Sandra goes through Charles' DMs. And this is where everything was crazy to me. Like, hold on. She goes through, and mind you, she's still texting me. We got off the phone. She's texting me. She's like, I'm going through his DMs, and he messages women every day. He messages women every day, and he's sending money to women's Cash App to play with themselves, but it's paying money for it. And I'm in shock. My jaw is to the ground at this point. I don't know what to say. Like, just like I am now, I told her I don't know. And so she tells me he was just with his ex-wife 2 months ago and was sleeping with her, and then he had Chew in our home, and then he over here has a side piece who's trying to play the fence and trying to play me like I'm stupid. And I just messaged 7 other women. Y'all, my feelings, they're hurt. They're hurt at this point. You know, like, this man who I thought was a gentleman portrayed to be something that he wasn't. And I am now involved in drama with his girlfriend messaging me and telling me the reason he can't answer his phone is because he's with me. And he puts you females on do not disturb because he doesn't want me to find out. Meanwhile, I was in this woman's home where she lays her head, where she pays bills. This is her safe space. This is her haven. And I am in her home unknowingly. I did not know that she lived there. She's like, well, if you would have checked under the cabinets, who's doing all that? Who's doing that? I'm not doing that. I asked the man if he was single. He said yes. But just to know, what if his girlfriend came back home sooner and she saw me in her home? Who knows what she would have done to me? You know? Like, that's a tough situation to be in. You feel like you're doing your due diligence by asking questions and you're vetting, right? Vetting is super important. You're vetting people and you're thoroughly investigating people to, you know, make sure they're okay. And so just knowing that, and me and his girlfriend are going back and forth, and she's telling me things about this man that I would have never known or found out. This man has a temper. This man tried to put her in jail. This man is cheating on her like crazy and wanted me to be a part of that. His group, his roster. But I took it slow because I'm like, you have to take it slow with men and then you get to see the real them. I didn't sleep with this man. I didn't become intimate with this man. But what if I did? What if I did? And I found that out. So, you know, obviously she needs to go to her doctor, make sure she's good, because he's cheating. And he will continue to. This is not a man like that. This is not their first time. This is not their first time cheating. And he won't stop. She's messaged 7 other women that day in the morning, just started. And you know, I'm a girl's girl. Like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be a woman about my stuff. I'm gonna be a woman. If you're asking me questions about your man, I'm going to let you know. Yes, I was over there, but I did not know. I didn't know. And so, you know, my feelings, I'm hurt. It's a blessing in disguise that she told me this, because again, I was about to get with him this weekend. We were about to go on a date. Y'all, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. You know, I was deceived. And that's a strong word. I was deceived. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, this man is dangerous. He's having other women in your home where you lay your head, and he's willing to sleep with those women in y'all's bed. And he didn't say anything. All he kept telling me is he's single. And I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her, and that's why I gave her the information that she was seeking. You know, I might not agree with the way that she went about it, because again, you can see I was fed up with him. Like, I don't need to talk to him. I don't need to have a conversation with him and ask, is she real? Like, your girlfriend's really messaging me? Are you serious right now? What is this about? I don't need to do that. I'm gonna send you this message so you know I am aware, and then you're blocked. You're done. Like, we don't need to have a conversation. She messaged me and told me I was in her home. Like, we don't need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. I'm done. But it's like, you know, she kept trying to get more information. I'm like, girl, I know it could be hard to leave a man, but you've already gotten proof. What more do you need to leave? So I feel for her, and I hope she can get out of that situation, because again, that type of man is dangerous, and it's not healthy to be snooping and wondering, because at this point you already know he's a cheater. You know he's a cheater, you know, because you're speaking with a woman he's cheating on you with, whether that's emotionally or physically. So I guess some of the red flags to look out for in the future is inconsistent communication. That's gonna be number one, because why is he being inconsistent? Mostly. Okay, the second red flag is him inviting me over to his home. Now, some may disagree with this, but based off my experiences with men, a man who is taking you serious and wants to get to know you and go slow is not going to invite you to his home within a week of you guys officially like dating. He's just not. A man will wait for you when you're ready and won't switch up on you because he cannot get a kiss when he wanted one. That's red flag number 2. Red flag number 3 is this man, if a man follows Kevin Samuels, you need to run for the hills, sis. And I mean run. Now, some women may accept that. I am not that woman. Because Kevin Samuels, the way that he thinks, does not align with the man I want to be with ever. So if he's following Kevin Samuels, that's going to be a red flag for me. 3. If a man uses the term females all of the time, that's a red flag. And every time I've dealt with a man who used the word females, he ain't been ish. He ain't ish. From my personal experience, he wasn't ish. Yeah, I think that's it for my red flags. So I do hope that this video was helpful. I did want to share this story time because it's been weighing on my heart pretty heavy. And, you know, it's unfortunate. My feelings are still a little bit hurt, but I'm thankful that I was able to get out scar-free in a sense, because I wasn't involved with this man. And when it comes to dating, you don't want to rush. You don't want to rush with these men, because you want to know their true intentions. They can talk, but talk is cheap. It's real cheap, and we don't do cheap. So I need you to show it by your actions. And even if they do, like in this case, learn from my experience, he was showing within the first week his actions. I'm just like, he's consistent, right? But I held out longer, because you don't know someone after a month. After 3 months, you don't even know them. So hold on to your gift, ladies. Don't give these men the woo-ha. Don't just give it, because then you're left with these emotions. You have to pick yourself back up when these men can go on to the next woman. You see him, 7 other women. So just holding on to your gift as long as you can, because that man, either he's going to wait for you until you're comfortable, or he's going to show his, you know what, his ASS, like this one did. So just make sure like you hold on to your gift, and, you know, date. Don't just date one person. I think that was my mistake. You know, don't just date one person. If you're, I would recommend, yeah, just don't date one person. If it's too exhausting, you know, I understand, but that way you're not so hung up on that one person. And then also, if you're not ready to date, that's completely fine. I'm not dating. Because obviously I'm not ready. There are certain red flags that I should have saw in the beginning, which I have my reservations about this person. But when he invited, if I'm being honest, the lessons that I've learned is this man invited me to his home. He should have been blocked that moment. There shouldn't have been no more discussion with this man, because obviously you know what he's on, sis. A man who, to me, a respectful man who is trying to court you or trying to get to know you on a more personal and deep level and not just a physical level. We're trying to get, you know, get another body. Oh, she a baddie, so I hit that. He's not inviting you over. He's not inviting you over at 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. to get it cracking at 12. You know, booty call hours. He's just not. And he's not gonna switch up on you. A man who adores you and who likes you, he's gonna move mountains for you. And this man wasn't. So, y'all, this was a lot. Like, I'm dealing with it, but this woman, I can't even fault her. She wanted information, I provided it to her. I haven't spoken to him, he's blocked on everything, but I feel so sorry for her. And I hope that she leaves, because like I told her, you deserve better. You don't deserve this. You've helped this man out of some situations, and this is how he does you. A lot of men do that. When you try to build up a man, right? You helping him, which I never do. Just being honest. You help a man, and then after he's, you know, settled, got the everything going, then he's cheating on you. Like, no, we deserve better. So I hope that she gets out of that situation, and you know, it's a learning experience for her, because that man is all about and for himself. How can you love someone and you're cheating on them every moment that you get? So it's just a learning experience, and I wanted to share it. And of course, this is not going to prevent me from dating men of the future. However, the moment I get a feeling something's off, you're done. Like, you're gone. You're gone. Like, there's no, well, no. And I'm going to abide to my standards. I have standards, my own standards as a woman. And if he cannot meet those standards, he has to go. He has to go. So, ladies out there, maintain your standards. Pay attention to those red flags early on and cut it. Just cut it. Cut it right away. Don't stay, don't stick it out. It's just gonna get worse. And you're gonna be like, dang, he showed me himself like back then. Why did I stay? And then it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. His cheating's not gonna stop. It's not. Like, people only change when they want to change, and even then you can change, but you can still have those tendencies. Again, he's not going to change unless he wants to change. And I learned my lesson with this man, and going forward, I ain't going to no man's house like that. That's, first of all, it's dangerous, you know, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer. But I learned my lesson, and you know, I'm not gonna let this like jade me or make me bitter, because I don't think that all men are like this. There are a lot of them. I will say that. There are a lot of men who are not, they're just not good. But there are some who are. And I know that, you know, if I keep being sad about this situation over this boy, because he's not a man, then I'm preventing my husband from finding me. So we can't be doing that. But I hope this was helpful. And ladies, y'all, pay attention to those red flags. Most men just want you know what. So try to don't give in and don't put out until, you know, like, shoot, I would say, well, for me, until you're in a relationship. Well, shoot, but look at this situation. Gosh, y'all, I don't know. I gotta do some praying. I gotta do some self-reflection and ask myself certain questions as to why didn't you cut it off earlier, and, you know, self-reflect on things like that. But that will be the end of this video here, and cheers to us doing better this year, first of all, okay? And just having fun. I'm a young, beautiful woman. I'm about to be a flight attendant. I don't have time to be stressing over stuff like this. I don't have time for that drama. I don't have time for it. So y'all, I will see you in the next video.